Hey, welcome back to the Giant Beastcast. Here we are. I opened this show visually without a fade this time again. I introduced some new transitions into my OBS. Sometimes they're mapped to the keys. I don't know. I gotta figure that one out. But I'm here to do a podcast. The visual stuff, hey, that's all gravy. You just need to hear these dulcet tones coming out of my throat box. Woo, that's gross. It is episode, what do we got here? 271, Thursday, July 30th, Friday, July 30, or Friday the 31st? 31 days in July has September. Right, am I okay? Why? Why do you ask? Why?
I don't know. No, that was real smooth.
Yeah, I'm so good. I'm going to start with Jeff Bacalar today. Wow, look at this. What's up, Jeff Bacalar?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm just, honestly, this is one of the highlights of my week, hanging out with my three friends here and getting through the day, getting through the week, getting through it all.
What you drinking?
Thanks for having me back.
What do you got going on there?
I'm drinking, so this is, look, I like seltzer, like flavored seltzer.
Okay.
And I'm now drinking some fucking, this looks like the Stop and Shop brand of that. And that's what I'm drinking right now. I terribly interesting, I know, but this is what I'm drinking. So
you don't have one of those soda water things for your fridge, like they take the little.
You know, I'm thinking about investing in one of those Jimmy Jams. What do you think?
We got one. I got one for my wife a while ago. She uses it once in a while. I
feel like I would be drinking that thing all the time. Yeah. I hear that you got to refill the thing, like the canisters. The canisters are kind of expensive. I just talked to somebody about this because I was like, maybe I should get one. I'm at home all the time drinking all the seltzer. Yeah, got to refill the canisters. They recommended getting two because it's really cheap to refill them. It's less cheap to like buy them like full out. So they would like put one in, refill the other one, and then keep swapping them.
The CO2 canisters.
Yeah.
Abby Russell, what are you drinking over there? It looks like, oh, you know what? They're not sponsoring the show. It looks like some carbonated clear beverage.
They could be sponsoring. Delicious Schweppes.
No.
Orange sparkling seltzer water. So delicious. It's my favorite drink when I podcast.
Stop it. We're not, no.
And send me free seltzer. Schweppes.
No.
I love Schweppes.
Schweppes.
When I drink Schweppes, I go,
Schweppes. Send me a Herman Miller chair, Schweppes.
That sounds like Schweppes. If Schweppes sends you a Herman Miller chair, not me, I'll die.
Alex Navarro, what beverage do you have for the folks at home?
Well, Abby, I'm pivoting off of your delicious orange Schweppes. Perhaps you would like to try new Schweppes pomegranate flavor. It's delicious. Wow.
Schweppes. Wow, what a bunch of Schweppes over here.
Watery and flavorful.
Bubbly and watery.
Yeah.
Yummy, all natural.
I just have coffee. And you know what? Water. The water is filtered through my refrigerator's filtered though, so look out. Because New Jersey water, kind of gross tasting.
Really?
Yeah, I don't love New Jersey water.
It's not as good as
places have good water and which not? I know New York water is like primo water.
New York City, good water. San Francisco, good water. Hetchy, is that right, Alex? Is that where that water comes from? Hetchy.
It's like it's an aquifer, I think, in Yosemite.
LA, pretty good water, I think, because it drains San Francisco and then they irrigate. I think there's isn't that the pipes along the grapevine, right? Or like just pipes coming from San Francisco. Upstate New York, pretty good water. New Jersey, mentioned this a long time ago, but new listeners might not know. We have our own water, and we do not fluorinate the water here in New Jersey. One of two states, I believe, in the union that do not. I think it's us in Alaska. No,
that's why growing up,
Hawaii.
My parents fed me those chewable
fluoride tablets.
Yep.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah,
because
they got to get the
water fluoride for granted.
Time out. Speaking of fascinating. I stopped drinking as much coffee. Have you noticed that? I was drinking.
I did notice that. Yeah, I did.
Every morning I was like, "Is he getting his coffee in?" Peeking in
as
your
someone
windows.
who peers into your life through your webcam on a regular basis, I'm seeing you drinking coffee all the time, man.
Right. So I went from 2 cups in the morning to 1 cup in the morning.
Wow.
I don't know what it is. Maybe I needed it when I was commuting, but now that I'm just sitting on my stupid chair all day, it's like 12 o'clock would come by and I felt like my heart was beating out of my chest. And I'm like, something's going on.
That's not good.
I gotta stop drinking so much coffee. I stopped drinking that second cup, and I feel great.
Can I ask you a coffee question here? What do you consider? What's a cup for you? Is it like a big old mug, or is it just like when you made the pot? Mug. When you made the pot of coffee, would you say a cup would be what they measure a cup on the pot?
No, it's
okay.
No. 2 cups in the coffee maker is 1 normal human cup.
Okay, all right. So you're having like 4 cups of coffee.
I guess I was like 6-ounce cups, wherever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah.
But
okay,
if you do like a standard mug coffee, that's like 2 cups.
It's like the Grover here is like at least 2 cups.
That's like a 2-cupper.
Yeah, I held up a Grover mug. I have about that in the morning. Well, from 7 to 12 is like the 2 cups. I feel like that does me right. I stopped making coffee in the afternoon at some point, mostly because I'm lazy, and cleaning the French press is a pain in the butt. For me, that's me. Hey, you're listening to Giant Beastcast here. Boy, how's everybody doing? Great, fantastic. It's getting warm. It's getting warm everywhere.
It's not getting warm. It's been warm.
It's been fucking hot, Vinny. You need to stop.
What were you talking? We were talking about.
Thing.
What were we talking? We were talking
ungodly.
To Brad on the. I think it was Brad on Sea of Thieves, and he was like, "Oh man, San Francisco this time of year, it's just foggy, so foggy, and I miss the sun." And then I was like, man, I miss the 75 degree or 70 degrees and foggy. I'll take that over the humid 95 degree thing we got going on. Though I do love the summer.
I looked at San Francisco weather a couple days ago because somebody tweeted out something in regards to that, and it was like 64 to 70. I'm just like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
know.
like,
what the hell's going on?
It's not like they're absolved of it, because San Francisco and the Bay Area gets the delayed summer, the late summer that kind of runs all the way through September, and it gets not as much in San Francisco proper, but the rest of the Bay Area, it gets boiling hot in August and September there in a way that is desperately unpleasant.
It's very hot in like the East Bay and northern, but not nearly as humid as like New York and
it doesn't really get the humidity at all.
But anyway, it's hot. It's August in New York and New Jersey. It's that time. It's only gonna get hotter as we talk about some video games that I'm gonna say I took my 3 hours this week that I would normally take to play video games outside of work. That is spread out over 3 days. Kids have been having a tough time going to sleep, and that really affects that nighttime schedule. And I watched 3 episodes of that Tales from the Loop that I've been meaning to watch. The Amazon series. This is not an ad. It's also not an ad. Thank you, Schweppes.
I watched the first one.
You did, and what did you think? I thought it's
a little slow.
You thought the first one was slow?
Slow.
If people don't know
what's going on.
So it's very loosely, I think, based off of the artwork of Simon Stålenhag.
I think it's very directly based on his artwork.
You do? I feel like
they basically like mirror 1-to-1 a lot of his compositions. Like, yes, but okay, I don't want to step all over your shit here. I'm just saying. I think the fiction that he sort of created around all of his art is less popularized than actually the striking visuals of his art, right? So we understand that. The accuracy and the closeness to which the show is based on his lore, I'm not totally sure of and can't really speak to. But I think compositionally, if you're looking at the just the aesthetic of what that show does, I feel like it's kind of nailing that.
I don't mean to say that the show doesn't look like his art, because it does. I think so when I say loosely based on it, I mean like they basically take the visual representation from these stills or these paintings that he's done and make a show around it. They base the show in Ohio, in this kind of small town where a loop. The shorthand I would use for this, it's kind of like Twilight Zone meets Control. It's are the stories all connected, or is it just like one-off? So that's kind of the interesting thing. Having watched 3 now, there is a through line because it's the same town, and the characters will basically tag team to another character that you met in the previous episode,
but bump into each other.
Yeah, so you'll kind of have a consistent through line. I don't think it resets like each time. But it's neat if you have. I think the visuals of Stålenhag stuff is very striking, like you said. I think it loses some of that in the show, because I think the thing that was really appealing to me about his artwork was the story that's told through the art and not necessarily explicitly explained. Like, what is going on in this picture? And you kind of get the explicit explanation from the show, or at least a little bit more of it. But it's cool, and it definitely had Control vibes in the sense that there are these weird things happening, and they're almost objects of power within that world.
Definitely.
So yeah, it's neat. Anyway, that's the game I played. Other than that, for work, yeah, you can check out Grounded. We can all talk about that, or most of us here. I don't know, Backler, you played any of it?
I haven't, and I feel like it's probably pretty good for my kid to check out, but I have not.
I don't know.
It's basically like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Right?
Yeah,
it's
but
more like Honey, Who Shrunk the Kids. That's kind of seems like the central mystery of like, why are we shrunk? How did this happen?
And also, it's like, I wouldn't say overly violent, but it is a survival game. So there's
a lot of bug guts.
There's bug guts, and you could hit the other players, and you go down and respawn. It's so Grounded is up to 4 player co-op survival game where you are shrunk it down. It is in early access. It is on Game Pass, I believe, on PC and on Xbox One. It's like there.
There's something there.
Yeah, it's there. You can watch us play. We played it on the back half of our CB's play date, but we broke it out on the site if you want to check it out. There's an unfinished. Brad put that up as an unfinished as well. It's there. I think it's a little rough in some spots, but I like the atmosphere and I like the setting a lot. I love what you're supposed to be doing. I'm just not sure I love doing it in the game. I love the idea that you're going to craft this armor out of ant pieces, and you're going to craft this spear out of a weed and all this stuff. And then doing it, I think maybe I don't love as much right now. It's still early. They'll hopefully refine some stuff, tune some stuff. There's like a hunger and thirst mechanic that are not my favorite things, even in survival sim games. I know they're there for a reason, but they can become tedious as you're trying to do stuff. Then you got to refill this hunger meter or this the thirst meter.
I also feel like it seemed like they went down quickly. Like your thirst would go down every time you would like hit something with an axe, and it was like that's a lot of what you're doing. So it just felt like they were also going down very quickly. In addition to like I feel like I was trying to learn all of these other systems. So having those things to deal with on top of being like, well, I don't know what grass does. How do I make an axe? And all of this stuff, I think was just like a little bit overwhelming at first. Maybe once you like play more of it, it gets a little easier. But I mean, I'm sure it does. And
that's definitely one of those things they can tune in there
right
over the course of the game with a breadcrumb trail and kind of maybe isolating the player to a starting zone and then moving them on. But yeah, it's the exploration was a lot of fun. I had fun, walking through the tall grass and finding these giant-sized objects, and then kind of this mystery going on, and we didn't kind of uncover what the source of it is, but that is appealing to me, and I look forward to seeing where they go with it. Again, you can kind of check out what that looks like, either if you have Game Pass or you can go check out the Unfinished. That's Obsidian doing that one, so hopefully there's some fun story stuff going on there.
I keep forgetting that that's an Obsidian game.
Yeah, wild, right?
That's wild.
We also played some Deep Rock Galactic again on the site. You can check that out.
That was fun.
Yeah, that's I've been playing that more than I thought I would recently, and it is fun. I don't need to go over all the mechanics again. The game's been out for a bit, but it's again another up to 4 player co-op thing. You can do it solo if you want, and you're basically mining and mining mission-specific ore or any ore underground as these 4 dwarves, but you also have guns and there's a lot of battling happening as you also fight bugs. Continuing with Paper Mario Origami King, though that's kind of slowed down because it has been relegated to the off hours now, and as that time is eaten up, the kids are on the machine. The kids are gaming all the time. My son beat it, and now he's moved on to other games. Was very proud, came downstairs, gave him a high five. He was a super, did one of those things of like, hey, Dad, I just beat Paper Mario. I'm like, that's awesome. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
No, you don't get a raise to your allowance for that.
It's like, when's that review going up?
Get to work, kid.
And we talked about how long it was, and like, well, you've been playing a lot of games, huh? So I look forward to now beating it. Though it did take some of the wind out of my sails because I saw a lot of what he was doing, so I kind of know what's coming up, and then now I just have to go do it on his save. I've been also trying to sneak in some gaming while I'm watching the kids in the morning to see what their tolerance for not having them play, but me playing and them just watching me play. Not high on Paper Mario. They will not just watch me go find toads. Not super high. I tried Grim Fandango. I thought that might be appealing for them because I love that game. My daughter was not that interested in it. Tetris Effect, though. They enjoy watching the backgrounds, running through the backgrounds in Tetris Effect. But I've made it through the whole thing again. I don't know if we'll be able to do another run through it. So yeah, trying to find stuff to do that is not necessarily dumping all the toys on the floor and playing for hours.
Just do what I did every summer, which was just sit in front of the TV all day.
So I
every episode of SpongeBob.
So I saved that for my wife's shift, so she's got the longer shift with the kids, and they've been doing a lot more out. Like our pool is open, and then they've been doing a really good job with the social distancing at the pool. So they've been going there, and it's not crowded at all. I guess they have they have lifeguards and social distance guards that stay in the pool to make sure the kids stay away from each other, so that the lifeguards
Timmy.
Yeah, exactly. So that the lifeguards don't have to worry about that at all, right? So they have separate people that are just in the pool for that. And then it's bring your own chair, and they have circles painted on the floor and that whole thing. So thank goodness for that too, because the kids love going to the pool. But I do save the pure screen time stuff. Be like, they didn't watch any screens, just go ahead, plop them down, go watch whatever you want. And they only watched me play Tetris Effect. Yeah,
it's becoming a thing in my house. We're trying to. They go to the pool a lot, like maybe 3 to 4 times a week, which is a lot. I just, I don't know. When I was a kid, I went to camp. Obviously, camp's a dicey thing. Anywhere in New Jersey, it seems like there are camps open, but we decided not to send them. But you always, it's like a personal thing where you juggle that screen time sort of thing. And, for me, I always remember when I was a kid, I'd get home from camp and I'd play Nintendo for a very long time until it was dinner time. And I think that's okay. There's, you have hours and hours and hours of baking in the sun and doing that kind of thing. And
I think it's always the thing I'll always say. It's up to the parents and the kids.
It totally is.
You got to read your own situation, and some kids are okay with it. Some kids it's too much. At some point, the balance for us is I realized my son would do it all the time. There was no self-regulation.
So you got to intervene there, right?
Yeah, so it would become, and I get it, as we probably all get it, games are freaking fun. Of course I would play them, given the opportunity, I would play them all the time. The only thing that I try to see if we can do is experience a little something else. Just try some other stuff out. You're only going to be a kid once. There's going to be a time probably within a year or two where you're going to be like, I don't really want to play with you anymore, Dad. It's okay. So let's get that. Let's go do all that stuff at least a little bit now. We're still going to play games. Games are for the rest of your life. Some of this other stuff, maybe not. We'll see. But some of this other stuff is only for now. So yeah, I think trying other things, it's weird. It's a weird balance. I would never tell any other parent how to do it. You do what you need to do.
Of course. It's just, it's tough.
Tough. Games.
I don't know. I feel like when I was a kid, maybe that's just because my family didn't think about it, but I feel like there was never a discussion of screen time. Screens are so ubiquitous now. I don't know. I can't imagine growing up when it's cell phones are readily at hand and everyone has computers. For me, we had a shared family computer. Mm-hmm. We had a shared TV, and then maybe I had a DS or a shared family game console. It's interesting.
I'm trying to think. I definitely watched a ton of TV growing up, to the point where it did have to be regulated by my parents. But the computer was very much a thing that I was encouraged to use as often as possible. It was my dad's little Apple II that had edutainment software on it and whatnot. They were all yeah, this is going to be great for your learning. It's going to be great for your education. It's good for you to learn computer stuff. And granted, my dad is a giant computer nerd, so that makes sense why he would push me in that direction. But I also wonder now if I asked him, he was so pushing me in front of the computer all this time. You'll feel good about that? I'd be curious to see what his answer was.
He'd be like, yeah, you're making a living from it. Yeah.
You were just good, right? Subscription or what?
I'll just take you're welcome. That's it, Alex.
I feel like also probably growing up in like a single parent household is maybe different. Of like my mom was just being like, just go in front of the TV, or my dad being like, yeah, just watch a thing, and like I can actually like get something done.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I run into too, talking to other parents who are like, well, we just use the iPad, or we let them watch TV. People who only have one kid also, I feel like that's so much more manageable, because with the two of them, there's just fighting over what to watch or what to play or what to do, right? Sure. And it's just like, I had the iPad first, or like I had this, and then you have to figure out what to do with the other kid and be like, well, you guys decide on something to watch together. Okay. 10 minutes later, one of them comes out of the room. I don't want to watch that thing anymore. And it's like, oh man, this was supposed to be the downtime. This was the time. And I guess you could have two TVs or two iPads or do whatever. But the thing I am not worried about with my kids is them not having exposure to computers or being computer literate. Like, I feel like that was maybe a fear of us growing up. Like, you need to learn how to use a computer and to type and use the internet. My kids are, I feel like, the exception. So in our public school, they don't get laptops. I think at some point they get Chromebooks, maybe 5th or 6th grade. But I know a lot of school districts that, and it's not like a wealth thing either. It's a lot of school districts just get laptops for the kids to use. They are Chromebooks and stuff like that. Yeah, or like from kindergarten. I know my brother's a teacher in not a wealthy district, and they manage their Chromebooks and they all get them. And I mean, it's helped out for this stuff, right? With the remote learning.
Oh, sure.
But I think that's the world we live in, right? Like, you're better off knowing how to use a Chromebook than knowing how to write in script.
I just wish I wish my parents took that advice for their own good. But,
you gotta get them a Chromebook.
I just
Are you
I
tech
feel
support?
like there's a show somewhere where I know it sounds like cliched of like, the parent calling the child and be like, how do I get to the app store? Like that kind of thing. But it's fucking real, and it's fucking real awful. Like,
oh yeah, tech support for parents is a real growing concern.
It is such a fucking nightmare with anyway.
I have a family member who is ill right now, and so we want to start setting up like weekly Zoom meetings with him. And so we did one this past weekend, and I was terrified that my parents were not going to be able to figure out this technology because they are not the best at figuring out technology that I or one of my step siblings has not set up for them. But other than like a half second of audio issue, like they figured it out. They got it together and they did it. And you know what? Your elderly parents are evolving. They are capable of evolving. They are capable of learning. They can still do it. Never doubt them. The possibility is always there for further growth and further learning.
Yes, sure.
Possibility. They have to execute on that, but there's always the possibility.
It's my bad for not keeping a log of all the fucking insane questions I've received from this man.
But that's what better way to keep a constant dialogue open with your kids and grandkids than to get them to do tech support for you. Yeah.
How dare you? Like, and he's like this, Queens guy, so he gets this accent in his voice where he calls up and he goes, "And it's fucking Wi-Fi and it's fucking printer. What is happening?" I'm like, I don't know what's going on with your shit, Dad. Why? I tell you, I don't understand how anything gets done. Okay.
The great Wi-Fi printer conundrum. Yes, we've all experienced that at one time or another in our lives.
Yes, 11 times a month, apparently.
I mean, like, a lot of stuff is set up to not be a pain in the butt if you ever have to do more than just turn it on and sync it. Like, plug and play is
but
the
I
worst.
Do think there's a language that certain generations speak that certain generations are not fluent in, I think.
I feel like with my parents, at least. I mean, my dad's very tech savvy. With like my mother,
he's 40, so I mean.
Well, yeah, my parents, he's 50s, but yes.
I'm sorry.
But
I remember him from high school. He was super tech. He was super tech savvy.
Y'all have met my parents.
Yeah, he was captain of the computer club.
Anyway, I know with my mom, it's more a fear of like failing. It's like, well, I'm just gonna mess it up worse. I also think with like a lot of tech stuff, there's a cliche of like it's like, well, just restart your computer and it solves the problem. And I think it is a lot of like, I know, Vinny, you've experienced this where it's like, I don't know what we did, but it's working now.
Yeah.
And there's not always like an easy answer. And like sometimes there is an easy answer and they just don't know what they're doing. But I do think that is also like very intimidating for a lot of people instead of just like knowing that like, hey, you just got to like poke some buttons, figure it out, Google some things, and hopefully it'll work.
But and I'm with you. This my attitude is a result from literal decades of this happening. Okay, so it's not like there wasn't a time where I was just like, oh, Dad, we're gonna teach
Jeff,
you computers.
You made the mistake of getting a career in tech.
That's right. You do work for a company called CNET. I should be asking you about TV and speakers recommendations.
Well, what pisses me off more about that, I get it. You want to ask me a question about what's the best router to buy, even though I don't fucking know either. I'm just going to go to the goddamn website.
Oh, actually, Jeff, I would mean to ask you, what's the best router to buy?
No, you did for real ask me that. Number two, like I'm just, but what bothers me is when people just assume that like I know everything. Like I know the car tech. I know no, I don't, not at all. All right, I'm sorry.
How's my car work though?
Look, I'm on PTO this week. All right.
Nice. Thanks for being here. You're not even supposed to be here. Thanks for being here.
I would not have.
Yeah. Come on. Like I said.
Wow.
Now I feel like a heel for actually skipping out during my PTO last week.
I always will. Bye.
So,
I'm gonna go check.
Like I said, it's my pleasure to see you people.
Thanks. Look at you.
Good seeing you too, buddy. Even though you're not drinking delicious Schweppes.
Don't.
I mean to get
that out every time.
To get some.
Why are you so upset by it?
Why
they pay? No, they gotta pay to play here.
Look.
Okay.
I mean, I would stop talking about it if it didn't taste so damn delicious.
This is the worst.
Oh, it's so refreshing.
Why are you doing it too? Everybody stop. Here we go.
Because I'm literally drinking Schweppes also.
Oh my gosh.
It's probably real good.
Yeah. It's not
bad. What were we talking about? Video games. Abby, aside from Grounded, Deep Rock Galactic, what else have you been up to?
Great question. I will look at my notes because I already forget. I do know I've been playing Good Sudoku, which is an app for the iPhone. I assume it's on other things. I'm not sure. There's a free version. I paid for it because I don't like dealing with free apps and the annoyingness of them. Anyway, it's a Sudoku app that has a lot of tools in place to try and better teach you tricks for Sudoku. And when I first started playing it, I was like, this is too fucking easy. They're telling me all the answers, and like a lot of it was automated in a way that just made me feel like I wasn't doing anything. But the more I play it, there is still some of that where I feel like, okay, well, I'm not really thinking y'all are doing half the work for me. But also there is a lot of just like, well, it's nice that they like pre-noted everything just so I don't have to do it. Like it just gets rid of some of the busy work of Sudoku, which is nice. But I'm enjoying it. I like Sudoku. It's a really clean interface, so it's like a good Sudoku app at the very least. And it's an easy thing to just like mindlessly play a little bit of Sudoku. I don't know if I'm necessarily getting better, but I do enjoy it. It's a well done app, even though my phone basically catches on fire every time I play it.
Good Sudoku.
There's a certain like point in Sudoku logic where my brain can't wrap its head around it. My brain can't wrap.
Your brain,
yeah, my brain's head.
It
has to do, I can't really describe it, but it has to do with like when I used to really be into it with Brain Age got me into Sudoku in a huge way, where there was like the daily puzzles, right? Was that what it was? Daily puzzles?
I think so.
And then it would just help me pass time on the beach because I don't want to be on the fucking beach.
You brought your DS to the beach?
No, that I wouldn't do that. I definitely have done that, but I also would bring
sand in your crack, your hinge,
right? And I would do the the pen and paper of Sudoku. They sell that too at the beach. So there is.
I only know tech Sudoku.
I need to, but there is like a certain level of difficulty that I have to surpass that I always run into with those things. And you're saying this has not helped you become a better player.
Are you asking did I say not?
Yeah, you said it did. You said you don't think you're getting better, right?
I don't know. I mean, I think that like there are some things it's like putting vocabulary to that I think I was already doing with Sudoku. But like, you know how sometimes you'll see like, oh, well, these two in this like house is like this 9x9 square. It's like these two are in these two boxes together and they're like the only two in this house. So you know that these two must be these two numbers. Right. Like now there's like a word for that. And like it was a method I was already doing before, but it's like articulated much better. And they have those that like break them down in a way that I think make it a little bit easier to think about, especially if, not to say that I'm like amazing at Sudoku, but like I like puzzles. I'm pretty good at puzzles. So like
the little hair sweep really was a good point of emphasis there.
But like I feel like for somebody who maybe like doesn't know how to conceptualize it, I think sometimes it helps to just have it like written down of like here is like the cut and dry thing to know what to look for. So I do think it is a good tool for folks to help get better. It's still, they're definitely very challenging.
I've never enjoyed Sudoku, and I watched that Sudoku video that everybody was passing around with that one guy that was amazing. Those. And then I was like, I'm gonna get into Sudoku. I turned it off, I didn't turn it off. I'm not gonna lie. Watched the whole thing, and then I tried to solve that puzzle on my own, and was like, okay, I can get this. I understand what's going on here. That's a lot of fun. Maybe I'm into Sudoku, and I played it for like 1 or 2 nights when I was putting the kids to sleep on an iPad. And then I was like, I'm pretty sure I don't like Sudoku.
Well, that channel, I think it's called like Cracking the Cryptic, I think is what the channel's called. But that channel also like all of their Sudoku isn't just like, here's a number grid, fill in the spots. It's like, and also you have like chess rules where like this is like a knight's rule and like it has all these like weird caveats, which is fascinating, but it's like bizarre Sudoku.
Do you like a good crossword puzzle though? What else, Abby?
I'm bad at crossword puzzles. I have also been playing Sims 4 Nifty Knitting, I believe is what it's called. It is a stuff pack, which is the lowest on the hierarchy of packs. You got a expansion pack, a game pack, a stuff pack. This is a stuff pack. Just for some context going in, it is what it sounds like. It is a knitting pack. I think we've talked about this a bit before because the audience did vote for it. They had the opportunity to vote for a Grim Reaper career pack, but no, they chose knitting. And I'm not gonna say I'm like bitter about that, and I don't think that's informed my decision at all here. But I'm not that into the knitting. I think it's like fine, but I think as far as the stuff packs goes, I think I really wanted it to lean into like the granny aesthetic, and I feel like a lot of the hair is definitely very granny, but they actually have some good hair options too. But I feel like a lot of the stuff they have, like the furniture items, the cosmetic items, they feel very much like kind of like a Midwestern like craft room aesthetic, which is more just like not my jam. It might be better for someone else. So I think I was just a little underwhelmed by the actual like stuff in there. And then the knitting itself, it's kind of nice, but I don't know. I don't find it that interesting. They also added a thing sort of like a Craigslist or even like a Facebook kind of store. Like, you can like sell shit on Facebook. They have like that within the Sims universe. So it's like, oh, I've knit a bunch of shit and I can like now sell it on my phone.
Etsy.
Or sell it on the computer. Yeah, Etsy. I guess it's Etsy. Yeah, I think Etsy is the right thing.
That's what you have. Simsy.
Yes, Etsy. So that's kind of an interesting feature. I don't know. I think just for me as a player, I've never really been one to make and sell stuff. Like even with like when they open like Dine Out with restaurants, I never really dug deep into a lot of that stuff. So I think it's just like this pack is just maybe not super for me. The knitting animations are fine. I think it is like not the most interesting stuff pack they've done. It feels like there's not a ton to it. I don't know how much of it I will actually use, but I think maybe for someone they might like it. But I think for me, it's like not my favorite pack.
Okay.
Anything else, Abby?
No, I mean, I played the Grounded game with you, which was fun. I also really liked Deep Rock Galactic. I want to play more of it. I hope we play more on stream. I also wish there were like lady orcs or lady dwarves because it's all like dudes and they all kind of look the same.
Maybe you gotta unlock them. I have no idea. Alex?
Yeah, I don't know, but
what you been up to? Anything you want? Anything else? Anything new?
Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to talk about this last week because I wasn't here, but I did finish Ghosts of Tsushima. And I finished that last week.
What'd you think?
I'm going to tell you right now. Well, I'm going to tell you what I think is that it has been roughly a week, maybe a week and a day since I finished it. And I have not really thought about that game at all until it came time for me to look on the show doc and be like, oh, right, I played it. It's not bad. it's just, to me at least, very forgettable. It's fun enough while you're playing it. It definitely has that like treadmill of open world objective, clearing that, all those games, if they're decent, do reasonably well. I think the combat is fun enough for a while, but the scenarios that they present to you just end up repeating too often, just like a lot of other open world type games. And just the story stays predictable from beginning to end. Like it doesn't have any ideas in its head that aren't, the things that they establish pretty early on. And like when it does try to throw a twist your way or whatever, it's just like, yeah, no, I saw those samurai movies too. I get it. I totally understand the things that you are referencing, the things that you are doing here. It just doesn't do anything particularly remarkable with those reference points. And I think that's where I kind of lose it.
Did you enjoy the actual combat and the gameplay?
For a while, yeah.
Okay.
It's fun. I think sometimes those duels are very fun. I think sometimes just, running up on a group of enemies and then just challenging them to a full-on fucking who's going to flinch first sword fight is pretty neat. And then by the 97th time you've done it, it's just like, yeah, no, I can just cut my way through these pretty easily now. Yeah. And it doesn't. And there's definitely a point where if you are being at all thorough about clearing out that map, you will beat the skill tree long before you beat the game.
Oh, okay.
And by that point,
you get super powerful. I mean, right? Like there's
like
there's
a point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I say there's a point. I think I had part of the way through the second act where they give you yet another meter, which is like you have killed enough enemies without getting hurt. So now you have this super thing where the screen turns black and white. Everyone starts acting super afraid of you. And then you basically just run up and just stab 3 guys who are afraid of you without them fighting back. And it's just so stupid.
But does it speed everything
really
up?
Did not need that extra layer of super meter on top of it. And it's just like, why is this here? Why are you're introducing this so late? Because someone at some point just said like, nah, man, Jin isn't badass enough yet. We need to give him another layer of him scaring the shit out of everybody. And it feels so tacked on and weird.
Do you think it's a thing that's just like, hey, we know this fight you're going to win very easily, so let's just get you through it as quickly as possible?
Not necessarily.
Doesn't
I think
feel
it's
that way?
more
Okay.
that just it feels like at some point they needed the Ghost of Tsushima to feel more like a folk folk hero, folk warrior. And so like that's part of that is like an intimidation tactic, but it's just, I don't know. Like I think the core mechanics of the combat are good. It's just that the game itself never finds a way to do anything more interesting with those mechanics than what they're doing at the beginning of that game, really. Like it's never more interesting than when you're actually in fights that are challenging and not fights that you can just traipse through because you are so fucking powerful.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, it's a game that I still want to check out at some point. Unfortunately, it's not on my high priority. I've got a huge log. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me the log.
It's
Abby and I were both.
It's like a list of things. A lot. You keep track of things, and it's
sure
very
Gross.
long.
Disgusting.
And I need to get through it. And Final Fantasy VII Remake is even still on that thing that I would want to get through. There's a game
I don't think
called.
you're ever going to finish that thing.
I'll finish the first installment at some point. It's a game called Other Side. Have you heard of this? It's
No.
it looks
I've heard of it. I haven't played it.
XCOM.
I don't know this.
XCOM-ish. And I want to check that out at some point if I get a few moments. Alex, anything else?
Yeah, I haven't played a lot of this yet. I just kind of booted it up and fucked around with it for like an hour and a half. But Skater XL, which is a game that's within early access for a long time, is now out on Steam and on consoles. And I played a little bit of that. It's not great. I love skateboarding games. I love anyone trying to revitalize that space. And I'm looking forward to that Tony Hawk remake as much as anyone, but I would also love to see more developers trying their own hand at this kind of stuff. And it's like the mechanics of it are very physics based. I would say it's more analogous to something like Skate than Tony Hawk. But the feel of it isn't quite right to me. And I'm not sure if that's just because it's been long enough since I played one of those Skate games that I've just kind of forgotten how to play anything that isn't like Tony Hawk press analog stick to do canned animation style skating. But there's also just not a lot in there. Like there's a decent number of maps. They seem pretty big from at least the ones that I checked out, but there's not really any objectives in that game. Like it is very much about you just kind of plopping yourself down into an area and just skate, just fuck around, just do tricks, see what you can do, you know? And that's, in a way, I feel like that's actually very true to what it is like to go out and have a skate session. Like you aren't necessarily going out there and trying to, you know, fucking hit X number of tricks off the checkbox and make sure you find the secret tape on top of the school. You know, like that's not really what skating is. But, you know, you're just going out there, you're finding a space and you're just seeing what you can do with the space. And I think that's cool. But for at least the way my brain works, I kind of need a little more direction than that when I'm playing something like that. So it feels aimless in a way that maybe just does not work for me.
What's the XL? Is it just is it extra large?
I've been asking myself that question ever since I first saw the title, and I'm not sure that it is ever actually explained.
Extra logs.
Extra logs.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
How are the logs? Are they big? How do you get over them? Do you go jump? Do you grind? Do you grind? Maybe it's like 40. What is it? That's X is 10, right? L is 50, right? So maybe it's skate 40. They're just getting ahead before the hashtag
40-50. Yeah. I did a 720 40-50 nose grind. It was great.
Did you see they're adding a bunch of new songs to the remake?
I did. That's going to be in the news section. We'll talk about that. But cool. Like I said, I want more skate games. I want more developers to try their hands at skate games. I wish I was more immediately positive for XL. It just has not really grabbed me yet.
Anything else?
That's kind of been it. I've downloaded a couple of other things, but I haven't started playing them yet. So I'll probably have those to talk about next week.
Bacalar!
Hi there.
How did your pinball stream go?
It went really well.
That's great.
I tuned in for a very small part of it.
Oh, thank you, Abby.
Good setup.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it went really well. It was just me this time, just solo. I'm really. I had one real good game that a lot of people were impressed. I mean, what can I say? People were digging it. They were like, "Damn, you're good at flippity flapping in those flippers." I was like,
even Schweppes was like, "Man, we should have got on with this guy."
They fucked up. What can I
say? You're gonna get a Schweppes pinball machine next.
Oh, please, from your mouth to God's ears.
What'd you end up playing? Was it Jurassic?
Yeah, play Jurassic Park. Gonna do that maybe again next week. Or actually, I'm sorry. I was thinking about doing it this week, but I think something's going to come up. So I'm doing it every other week, keeping that sort of routine steady. It's been a lot of fun, and I just love hanging out with people and talking about pinball. And like, I feel like pinball's like, I don't know. Maybe it's just that I'm putting out that shit so much that people are starting to send things to me about
like pinball machines.
They're like, "Oh, you're never gonna believe what this guy said about pinball," or like,
"Wait, what's dirt? What's the pinball dirt?"
Is there dirt?
Yeah, what are people saying about pinball?
I mean, I don't want to call this.
Come on, I want to hear it. Well, you don't have to say the person. I want to hear the thing.
I'm just not gonna call out Greg Miller specifically.
Well, you just did, so there you go.
There's a lot of Greg Millers. That's a very common name.
Okay.
Someone sent me a link to a part of his show where he was like just shitting all over pinball, talking about how it's like this impossible game to play and that he's just like such a colossal waste of money.
Wow.
And I don't know, like,
wow. Wait, to own a pinball table or to put the quarter into play?
It, to like pop quarters in, which I guess could add up if you aren't coordinated. I get it. Like,
look at this beef brewing. I could smell it.
It's not a beef at all.
Wow, look at Bacalar versus Miller. Jeez, look at this thing.
Nah, come on.
Jeez. Ouch.
Seething.
You know, I didn't know that. I didn't know there was that sort of hate in people.
Just bubbling up.
Apparently
wow.
There is.
Wow.
What can I say? I am not like a wrestle person, so I can't.
Here it comes. Wow. Ooh, watch out. It's you're burning the tips here.
This is not what that is. I'm just saying. And then someone wrote on me on Twitter, like, "Hey man, someone told me to be more like a pinball person. Can you explain what that means?"
I don't know.
I was like, I don't know what the fuck that
means.
Get
some balls. I don't know. What does that actually mean?
Get 5 chrome silver balls.
Be more like a pinball person and flip them off. What
I just don't know what it all meant. It seems like a dig at someone. Like no one goes around being like, "Oh, that guy's a fucking pinball person." It's not like, "Oh, they're I admire them. I admire their
I don't know
work."
what it
Like,
means.
I don't know what it means. So yeah, that's all I got in the world.
The
I
pinball.
appreciate you asking me about it, though.
The pinball wizard from Tommy is like a someone to be idolized, right? Like that is they are singing the tales of wonder of the pinball wizard, not kind of putting them down.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
they do also kind of talk shit about the kid in the song, so it's I don't know. It's kind of goes both ways.
I mean that's a supple
yeah,
wrist.
I mean, you cipher out whatever you want out of that.
I guess so.
But yeah, in terms of actual games I've been playing, I haven't really been doing much of it. Like I said, been off this week, just sort of taking a step back.
Good.
Doing a couple projects around the house. Apparently, gutters have to be cleaned a couple times. I just learned about that.
Wait, are you cleaning the gutters? You getting up on that ladder?
No.
Oh.
I got a professional to look at that situation here.
It's probably for the best.
I'm trying to think what else. I spent the day in the Poconos near a lake. That was nice.
That sounds nice. Mosquitoes out?
Sorry.
What's the story there?
No, man, just fucking flies, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Flies.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know. I just I don't like being outside that much. And
well, good for you. I got some news for you. You don't have to be now.
I like being outside in the winter, in the fall. But these are the months where I'm an indoor kid, and I just feel like I'm always outside with people who want to be outside, and all they do is spend the whole goddamn time talking about how much it sucks to be outside.
Well,
oh, these bugs.
What?
Oh, it's so hot. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm like, I know. This is why
I could have told you this before we drove up here.
I like the winter because all the bugs are dead.
Yeah.
That's why.
Or asleep.
Oh, they're sleeping.
Either one.
Whatever. Sleep dead.
I didn't put 7 pinball machines in my living room so I could go outside.
Well, I mean, Jeff Bakalar, I think you'll be happy because I feel like we're just a couple years away from like an 80% insect die off. So I feel like we're probably getting to a world where you will finally be able to tolerate the outdoors until it gets too hot for any human person to actually live outdoors.
Again, let me put this out there just because you have to. I don't want the entire
ecosystem
biodiversity of planet
Really? Because that's not what I heard.
To be compromised just because I don't like swooshing a fly away. Although, is there a more fatal thing to humans throughout humanity other than the mosquito?
I think it's definitely up there. It might be number 1. Yeah.
It's probably number 1.
It's probably
Really?
number 1.
Totally.
Disease-carrying mosquitoes. Yeah.
Oh, mosquitoes
like
are
rats or something?
they beat up humans real bad.
I feel like I feel like even folks that like science folks are like, oh man, fuck a mosquito. Like like.
Listen, what is it like? What good do they? If mosquitoes are gone, do we lose anything?
That's what I think. I think even some like people who are like level of bugs. Fuck a mosquito though, right? Like I would take. All right, I would take for every 1,000. Maybe it'd have to be a little higher. For every 10,000 mosquitoes, I would take 1 human-sized mosquito that might possibly just pick you off the planet.
Are you?
What?
Yeah,
Why?
just
Why
like
is
so like coalesce the mosquitoes, right? Take 10,000, and every once in a while, it's gonna pick somebody off, like once in a while. But you can see it coming. You have a fight. You have a fighting chance. You have a fighting chance.
You're just describing a vampire.
No,
that's a vampire.
Like a pterodactyl-sized mosquito.
At what cost?
I am sorry, Vinny. No.
Yeah.
This is not the answer.
Bad, Vinny. Bad.
Hey, listen. They do what they need to do. Whatever benefit they have to the environment, they still do. But they just destroy a town here, and every 10 years they kind of just wipe one off. It's gone. The mosquitoes came and we fought them with swords.
What a mosquito does to a human, right, on its level.
Yeah.
Make that human size would be upsetting.
It'd be terrifying. It'd be
Literally
terrifying.
Literally a vampire. Literally describing a vampire. Again.
I don't know, Alex. I feel like it would be worse just because of how
yeah, you're right. Because the mosquitoes aren't goth. That's the problem. They're not goth enough.
But at least you got a fighting chance. At least maybe you could punch it. Maybe you could actually like hide behind a tree or something, and the mosquito is walking around.
It reminded me of that comic Skyward. You ever read that comic Skyward about the bugs that get all big because there's no gravity on Earth?
No.
It's wild.
Hold on,
anyway,
definitely not high enough for that one.
Please don't Just please don't.
Okay, sorry.
We don't
I'll cross that off. I'll put that. That was right underneath Final Fantasy on my log, so I'll cross that off. Thanks for talking me out of that one.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes, we all care deeply about
combine the mosquitoes. Anything else, Bacala? I know you're relaxing. We'll hit the news in a bit here. Anything else you want to talk about?
Just still playing a lot of games with my kid. We started. Do you remember back in the day the What the Golf save on our Apple TV got borked, and we were just all sort of.
I do remember this.
Yes. So it came out on Switch recently, and we're kind of making our way through it. And then this kid found my work phone, which is an iPhone, and he started playing I don't know how What the Golf showed up on that phone, but it's there. Maybe because it's attached to my Apple account. I don't know.
I think so. If you download it on like one thing, it'll download to the other.
Okay, that makes sense. And he found this other mode that was unlocked. I guess it's like a daily challenge mode or something like that. And now, and he wants to play it on the Switch, but it's not in the Switch version. And I just had to sit him down. I'm like, dude, this is why things are so fragmented and it's tough. You just don't know where a certain version of a game could be now. And I feel like he's starting to through the lens of this sort of he's not educated enough to really understand what the business model of all this is, and it's showing up in Rocket League too, because Rocket League's going free to play.
Yeah.
And just now, before we started the podcast, he's like, "Dad, come here. What's this?" And it's a screen where it showed a beach ball, and the Rocket League cars juggling a beach ball. And he's like, "I want to do that." And I'm just like, "Well, I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if that's part of the free to play thing. You might have to pay for that." He's like, "We have to pay for this. We already own it." And I was like, "Right there. Hold on to that feeling you have, and don't ever let go."
No, post it on forums. Go post that on forums. And here's the cap locks key, and go post that as many times as you can.
I was like, "You sweet, innocent baby boy. Don't ever let go of that feeling." Because I don't fucking understand it either. And I've been doing this for 30 goddamn years.
The answer is yes. You have to pay for that.
The answer is, here's my credit card. Do with it what you will.
The answer is refuse to put parental controls on any of your systems and just
buy all the blue acorns you want. It's your world, little kid.
It's your world. Just keep pushing X as many times as you need to. News? Should we get into the news? We'll take a break and then we'll hit the news up. Stay tuned, folks. We're going to take a short one here, probably about 5 minutes. I'm going to play the music. We'll be back in a little bit. Enjoy yourselves. Grab yourself some water. Go buy some blue acorns. Here we go. And we are back with the next part of the Giant Beastcast. This is where we look at some news. There is some going on here. Some that I have pulled. Alex, you have pulled some that others have pulled. Let's get the greatest stuff out of the way, which is Contra getting a board game.
I knew this was going to be the one you opened with.
Huh? Who wants to play Contra the board game? Raise your hand. I'm raising my hand.
Sure. Yeah, I can fuck with that. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what this means. I don't understand this. What are we doing?
Why are all games board games?
Because the same reason everything's wrestling.
So you can go look this up. It is called Contra the board game. Let me see who it's made by. Do we know who this is being put out for? It comes with 8 miniatures, 4 commando decks, 4 enemy decks, 4 stage decks, and 20 objective cards. 5 hero dice blocks, 5 enemy dice blocks. ... The story doesn't have who's putting it out. Guess? I don't know. Contra the board game. Every video game is a board game. Not lying. Look it up. It's a fact. I think there's something interesting in the rise of very online games that require multiplayer or only multiplayer online, and also the rise of you have to be in the same room with me board game. At kind of parallel to that. One was a little bit before the other, but listen, you don't have to write in and be like, well, actually, board games popularity, you just haven't. It's listen, there's a rise in both of those things. People get really mad at anything you say. Did you ever notice that online? They really want to just kind of jump in and just be like, well, let me tell you, what is Vinny talking about? But there is, I think there's a financially a swell of the money to be made from board games. And boy, the more miniatures they pack in that thing, holy crap! You got to paint them all.
Something to paint.
He's got to see that guy. Back that Bloodborne game. I think it's gonna come with like 8,000 miniatures. What am I gonna do with?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The miniature games that have the miniatures you paint,
Mm-hmm.
is that similar to like, I'm just thinking about like the economy of it and like the showing it off. Is it similar to say like, not in gameplay style, but to say like a Magic the Gathering where you have cards and someone might be like, whoa, you have that card and it's a foil? Like, cool. You know what I mean? Like, not necessarily rarity, but like, do you like take them to like gamer events and like show them off, or like do you just paint them to then play with your family?
Let me answer your question in a way that I'm sure everybody can get mad at. Because this actually is kind of a bone of contention for stuff, and I've kind of gotten caught up in this. So a lot of games are Kickstarter now, right? So as Kickstarter exclusives, they will add in miniatures that are only available during the Kickstarter exclusive, and then after the Kickstarter, the game comes to retail, and those miniatures are no longer available, or the cards are no longer available. Your question was about miniatures, though.
Wow.
And so
all this is news to me.
Yeah, so the miniatures that you were able to get from the Kickstarter campaign will not be available at retail, and then they hit the secondary market, and their markup is ridiculously huge. And if you came to the game late, the game meaning the particular board game, not like came to the I got into the game, then you're like, oh, I wanted to complete this set. I would love to have everything for this game. If you're a completionist, like I have the tendency to be, you might wind up having to pay really high secondary market fees to get everything. So the lesson there is be okay with not having a complete set of everything in the game. But there are so many Kickstarter exclusive cards and so many promo cards that come out for Kickstarters that weren't even the game. Like Abby made a game, but she was friends with Jeff, so she's got a promo card for Jeff's game as part of the thing, and then you only get the card if you back it. And it's that part is kind of a pain in the butt if you're trying to complete a set. So yeah, stuff does get pretty rare. I remember for Mice and Mystics, I was looking for these 2 cards that came as promo cards for a while on eBay, and luckily I wound up getting them for a price that wasn't obscene, but that stuff can be kind of weird.
Wait, did I misunderstand Abby's question? Because I thought the question was, when people paint their miniatures, do they then use them?
That was a little more of my question. My question is more like, I think the economy is interesting what you're talking about, but I think my question is more like, so when I think of a board game, let's say the game Sorry, or even we'll make it easier, Monopoly.
Okay.
Sure. Monopoly has like a bunch of little miniatures, and like, sure, I might buy Nintendo Monopoly because I love Mario and I want the little Mario miniatures. Or I might buy, Women in History Monopoly because, oh my gosh, I want a Margaret Thatcher
in a top hat.
Little figurine. I don't know why she's the only one I get.
I don't know why either.
Anyway,
she is a woman in history. That is accurate.
Anywho, when you make miniatures for your game,
when I make the miniature,
are they just pieces that happen to have another hobby component to them where you get to paint them, or are they pieces that you show off, or is it like, are the games you're playing them for specifically games that you're going to take into a game store and play with strangers to be like, look at this miniature I painted, it looks like he's got dirt on his shoes, but it's really paint?
Okay, so when I paint my miniatures, when
you're painting your miniature Margaret Thatcher,
let's move away from that.
Is it the process of painting you enjoy?
Yes.
Or is it the process of painting you enjoy in addition to then going and showing them off for the people outside of your family group?
It's probably a little bit more of, I think I enjoyed playing the game more when the miniatures are painted than maybe even the process of painting them. Because it depends. It really depends. This is, again, a very unsatisfying answer, but it depends on what some of the games have 20 of a very similar, if not the same miniature, and batching out those. Do not enjoy that. Batching out 20 of the same miniature. It's one of the reasons. It is one of the list of reasons I don't really get into Warhammer stuff, because batch painting armies I think is rough. It's one of the things that Citadel, the paint company, has tried to fix with their contrast paints. Either way, that can be a little tedious, but when I'm playing the game with painted miniatures versus just like gray or orange or whatever color they came, I find it more enjoyable. I think it's a more enjoyable experience. I am proud if I did a good job on the miniatures to use these things, and this looks cool, but I've played with miniatures I've painted, I've played with unpainted. I just think the game is more fun. It's the reason I usually upgrade a lot of components in board games. Like, oh, we can use the paper tokens that came with the game, or I can get metal tokens that came with the game. And it's like, I find it just, if you're all sitting there and having a physical game, I just enjoy that more. So I don't necessarily, I've never brought a miniature outside of my house that I've painted. I've never gone to a place.
But I would assume there's a culture of that, because it just seems like two hobbies in one for me, which I think is hard for me to wrap my brain around. Like if I buy a board
people
game,
have competitions for painted miniatures. Okay. Yeah, people have competitions for anything, right? But they definitely for real have like, hey, look how well this stuff was painted, and there are whole YouTube channels about how to paint better, and like, did you win the competition and all that stuff. And people are proud of it. They do amazing work. I mean, it's
sure. I mean, I've seen those videos; they're great. But I'm trying to figure it out, and I don't know if I'm there yet.
I think if you played a game with painted versus unpainted miniatures, you'd probably feel one way or the other, right? Like, I don't care. Like, we could use the whole thing, or oh wow, using these painted ones really does add something. I wouldn't want to play without them. It just takes a lot of time. My kids have told me I cannot paint a lot of the miniatures for the games because it means the game will not be playable for 6 to 7 months while it sits. There you go. Like, hey, Dad, we can don't paint these ones, okay? I would like to play this game with you sometime when I'm a kid. All right, that's Contra the board game. You can go check that out. Sorry, let me pull up the rest of the news here. I have to get the right mouse. I have to make sure this mouse is on the screen.
You did have one other story under your name, Vinny.
I did. Cuphead's coming to PS4. That's I didn't know Cuphead wasn't on PS4, and that's why I read the news and said, hey, guess what? Cuphead's coming to PS4. I'll bring that story up here. Cuphead announced for PS4, $20 out as of today. So there you go. Actually, as of Tuesday, I think. So check it out. $20. Get your Cuphead. Is it still? Do you guys know if it's on Game Pass? I think it was at some point, right?
It was at one time. I haven't looked to see if it still is in a while or not.
Oh, there you go. There you have it. So much for your timed exclusives. The time is up.
Yeah.
Alex, take us into the news.
Yes. All right. So I guess probably the biggest thing that happened in the last week was the purported Nintendo Giga leak. Is I guess what we're all calling this now. So that's what I will call it here. This is a treasure trove of data that was most likely stolen from Nintendo's servers in one of a couple of different hacks that have happened in recent years, and is starting to leak out all over the internet. And a lot of this includes things like source code for old Nintendo games, like art of and assets for characters and things that were never been shown publicly for like old games. And it's, look, as someone who is fascinated by game preservation, is fascinated by the history of games, you know, I think anyone who says they can look at this data and not be fascinated by it is lying to you. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of reluctance, especially among the preservation community, to really embrace the stuff that's coming out of this leak because of the nature of how it came out. There's a piece that Patrick Klepek wrote over at Vice, where he sort of interviews some of the folks that work in game preservation, including some that don't even want to go on record because they don't want to jeopardize potential business with Nintendo down the road, just talking about this stuff. And I think that trepidation is completely understandable because, yeah, the way this stuff got out there and the way that it is being, distributed is pretty fucked up. I mean, it's a corporate hack. That doesn't mean that, viewing this data and, seeing what's in there, makes you complicit necessarily. But I think, you're not going to see the preservationist community sort of jump on this stuff the way they do potentially other stuff, because just by virtue of the way that it came out.
That being said, what came out?
Yeah, well, I mean,
I want to know. Listen,
there was a thing, but I'm starting to just unpack this, and whoa, boy,
what's this about?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not just Skinny Yoshi, man. Like, there's stuff in there, like, someone, I think Dylan Cuthbert, who worked on Star Fox back in the day, like some of his dev tools that were just custom made for building the game, that shit is just out there. There's like, if you get granular with it, like there's stuff in there that's just like little code messages, written within the source code to other developers that are just, taken out of context. Yeah, it's funny that the word fuck is in, random dev code.
I'm sorry,
but
it is
like
funny.
Also, does that shit really need to be out there in a major way? I don't know. It's like, it's one thing, again, if it's a company going out of their way to be like, hey, we are giving all this data to, a collection. We are letting people see this stuff, within the context of this, that, whatever. But it just kind of getting out there feels, I don't know, to me at least, very weird.
You see, I saw the thing from Dylan, and it was just like, I haven't seen this stuff in years. And I feel like all he needed to do was be like, nah, that's fake. I never made that. And just basically throw into question all of the stuff that's in here, like Skinny Yoshi and the rest of it. And what was the thing on Mario 64, Luigi and Mario 64, that whole thing? Some of the stuff, I'm coming to these conspiracy theories that apparently have been brewing for years, very late, apparently. I'm finding out more about the conspiracy theory stuff, which I guess are not conspiracy theories if it's true. I know, fuck them. They still are. But I didn't even know these were things.
I think for me, like, there's a quote at the end of Patrick's piece that I think kind of sums it up, which is to say that, like, a lot of the very sort of like excited nature of this has a lot to do with the way that Nintendo is extremely uncommunicative about, they don't really allow much of their history to get out there unless it is in a very carefully curated way that they have full corporate control over. And I think the momentous feeling this treasure trove of data has a lot to do with the fact that, like, people just don't get to see this side of Nintendo shit ever.
That's true.
And I think that's fair. I think there's a fair point there that, like, if Nintendo were better at curating its own stuff and, letting people celebrate that history outside of, the very specific corporate mandates that they have, it might not feel quite as crazy that this stuff is out there. But at the same time, they still got their shit stolen straight up.
Totally.
Like, there's no getting away from the fact that this shit was just fully pulled off servers through a hack.
Yeah, I mean, it's even more fucked up that Reggie spearheaded the whole thing and just was basically like, fuck him. Let's get it.
That's why he left. He's like, here's done. Gotta go.
He's like, let's get in
there.
there.
Dunking on Reggie.
No, I love Reggie. It's not dunking on him. He cracked his fingernails, had all 18 of his screens up, and was like, let's hack this shit.
He cracked open a computer case with his bare hands and pulled the information out.
That's right. He punched through a computer monitor and came back with a bunch of code and was like, here you go.
Him, like, putting on like that shit that Johnny Lee Miller does in the hack. Just like that single lens. He's like, all right, time to hack the planet.
What's going on, Reggie? Oh, they're instituting a firewall. I've got to get through it.
Him fighting Fisher Stevens over the internet.
Miyamoto's fighting back. I got to push harder.
Anyway, this is a fascinating thing, and look, the data that has come out of it, I think, is largely really fascinating, just from like a historical perspective. It's just, I just wish it came out any other way than this.
Yes, it's very illegal. Also, a lot. You're right. There's a lot of stuff here. Hacks. We live in an age of hacks.
We do.
I'm a hack. Just listen.
And I mean, look, I've been a hack
for years.
Yeah. Look at you talking to the original hack over here. Tell me something about hacks. I know him.
I got this job just to reveal that you're a hack. You finally said it. I could leave.
You didn't have to get the job. You could just email me. It would have been like, question to the Beastcast. Are you a hack? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, totally. 100%.
Hack and full-on imposter syndrome. Yeah, what else? Anything else you need to know? All right, aside from the Giga leak, what else?
So this isn't breaking news, but I feel like it's worth calling attention to this because this has been going on for a couple weeks. So Lovestruck, which I will admit was not an app I was immediately familiar with prior to this news getting out there, but it is a mobile app that is a collection of essentially visual novel stories and games on the app. Their writers have gone essentially on strike. 21 writers that all work on different aspects of Lovestruck have sort of banded together. This is not a union, I should say. They are not a recognized union within the context of American labor law. But they essentially are saying that they are being paid well below market rate for the amount of, for the volume and urgency of the work that they do for the app. They've decided to go on strike. And so in the wake of that, initially, the company that puts out Lovestruck, which is Voltage USA, did put out a statement where they basically said that, we really wanted to talk to all the writers individually and negotiate with them individually, but they weren't willing to do that. Which, again, they're not a union, so technically this is not illegal. But at the same time, one of the tactics that companies will often use when trying to, stop unionization is to try and talk to workers individually and try to prevent them from working and speaking collectively. So this has been going on for a couple of weeks now. My understanding is that the Voltage writers are in active negotiations with Voltage at this point to try and end this and to get better, essentially just to get better pay and better better benefits for the work that they do. But they haven't put out an update I think they just updated their Twitter saying, hey, we're still working on this. We're still talking to them. And they've also said that they don't necessarily want people to go out and boycott the app or anything like that. They just want to, they draw attention to their plight, trying to make sure that they are paid what is, considered a fair market rate for the work that they do.
And add my 2 cents to something I don't know very much about, but do know something about the power of collective bargaining, and that is what it gets you. You're totally right. Singling out each person to try and negotiate and pit other people against each other. Absolutely a tactic for undermining pay.
I think it's again, unionization is not a thing that has really hit American game development at all yet. But these labor actions are starting to happen here and there, and I think it's worth calling attention to them when they do happen.
Alex, what else you got?
Let's see here. So this is a weird one that required me to go down a couple of Wikipedia rabbit holes today just to try and understand what the fuck was going on here. So Riot. Riot
can't wait
games.
for this. I'm going to sit back a little bit. Yeah. Take me down this journey.
They've had their share of issues recently. This is one of the more bizarre and immediate repercussion ones I've seen in a while. So League of Legends, for the LEC summer season, which I believe is their European championship for League of Legends, Riot Games yesterday announced a partnership with Neom, which I did not know what the hell that was until I saw some people talking about it.
It's the first time I've ever seen that word.
Yeah, so here's what Neom is. Neom is a $500 billion Saudi Arabian project. The government
I'm sorry, did you say 500 billion?
Yes.
Like half a trillion. Right. Okay.
Yes. $500 billion Saudi Arabian project to build what is essentially a mega city in the northwestern section of their country. It is being spearheaded by the Crown Prince. It is a thing, again, I had never heard of prior to this story getting out.
Mega city.
Literally, they are building a mega city.
It is 2020. We should have something called a mega city. It's the time.
Well,
what is a mega city versus a regular city?
Well, you play Sim City?
I've played it.
It's like what do they call those big tower thingies?
A mega tower?
Arcologies? What are they called?
Oh, like the big dome where just everybody lives?
Yeah, but just like a billion of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so the way what they're quoting with this is they're saying, I believe that the quote is that the city itself, if it comes to fruition entirely, is supposed to be 33 times the size of New York City.
Wow.
It is a very large swath of land that they are planning on building up, and the first chunk of it won't even be done until 2025.
Fill it.
That's neither here nor there. And the real thing with this story is that as part of this project, they were going to sponsor the European Championship of League of Legends. So this got out there, and immediately I saw not only people who are well aware of the various human rights violations in Saudi Arabia going on, but also just straight up employees of Riot being like, what the fuck is going on here? And literally the same day, within hours of this announcement, they immediately said, okay, we're not doing that deal anymore. They canceled it. And it's it was as rapid a response I have seen to a ill-advised decision as I've seen anywhere in this industry in recent memory. So yeah, this is really bizarre stuff. And I don't know how, I kind of know how you get to this point where you're like, yes, well, yeah, no, you're giving us a lot of money. Look, I watch wrestling. I know about WWE's deal with Saudi Arabia and how fucking well that's gone. I understand they're throwing a lot of money at a lot of different stuff, but this is, the Saudi Arabian government, for a variety of reasons, is one that is frequently protested against, but for human rights violations in the war in Yemen, for the killing of Jamal Khashoggi, for the also just to build this city, they are straight up forcibly evicting an entire tribe in Saudi Arabia, to build on that land. Like, there's a whole host of reasons why this thing is fucked. And they start throwing shit tons of money at you. I understand how you get to that point if you're not really thinking about this stuff. But the fact that they so immediately and quickly went right back on it says to me that maybe they just didn't do any fucking due diligence on this thing.
Yeah, I wonder. I haven't looked at the story, so I don't know if this is explained. But do you know if a statement came out about somebody at the top of Riot put a statement out like something that is along the lines of, I did not know about this and we are not doing it? Did it reach up enough once it was public to be like, what are you guys doing? Or was it a statement made that is like, hey, upon further consideration?
It's very much an upon further consideration thing. Okay. So the only statement I've seen is the one that came from Alberto Guerrero, who is the head of their esports division in Europe, Middle East, and African regions. And it is very much here, I'll just read the statement because it's one paragraph. As a company and as a league, we know that it's important to recognize when we make mistakes and quickly work to correct them. After further reflection, while we remain steadfastly committed to all of our players and fans worldwide, including those living in Saudi Arabia and the Middle East, the LEC has ended its partnership with NEOM effective immediately. In an effort to expand our esports ecosystem, we moved too quickly to cement this partnership and cause rifts in the very community we seek to grow. While we missed our own expectations in this instance, we're committed to re-examining our internal structures to ensure this doesn't happen again. That's basically, I have to imagine, is the only thing you can say without throwing very specific people under the bus for just going ahead with something like this.
Neom, that is the name of the mega city, but is it also the name of like a company or initiative?
I assume that there is some sort of division within the Saudi government that is like the NEOM, developmental project, whatever it is. I'm sure there is a corporate arm of this, but I don't know enough. I still barely understand what this whole thing is and why they're going out and sponsoring fucking e-tournament for a city that hasn't even broken ground yet.
So
I don't know. I don't know. Neom, Mega City, 2020 are all things that sound bad.
So someone in the chat just said it is the Saudi Public Investment Fund. So that is the arm of that, I guess.
Okay. All right. Well, what a fucking weird story.
Do you want something that's just? Do you want something not weird? Do you want something that's just kind of like chill? Something that remind you of a better time?
In my dystopian future of megacities and human rights violations, the part where esports gets involved in a sponsorship way just never shit coming in sideways like that. But yes, now it totally does. When you say it, it's like, yeah, of course esports is somehow involved in this. But when I'm reading my like William Gibson, there's never like and the esports team.
No, I think there's something in there.
And the skinny Yoshi was the mascot. It's just
Well, good news. The sprawl, the sprawl of Gibsonian literature is apparently going to sponsor the next Dota tournament. So there you go.
Nice.
Good.
Anyway, here's a story that is in no way controversial.
Yeah, what's your
There's
wholesome
nothing
shit?
crazy about this. There's nothing terrible. It's just this is the closest you're going to get to comfort food in this segment. So here we go. Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
Yes.
They're coming, baby.
Roll.
They're remaking those games. And you know what?
What?
They're adding a bunch of new music to that game, but they're also bringing back, as far as I can tell, pretty much all of the old music too.
Cool.
Oh, so now we get to play the game and see like who didn't want to play ball on licensing, huh? If most of the other people are coming back. Who said no?
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing, is that when they initially announced this soundtrack slate, there were some artists missing.
Mm-hmm.
Anthrax was gone, and I believe Suicidal Tendencies was not on there either. But those two songs have been added back. They are in the game, so you will get to play Psychovision by Suicidal Tendencies while you are skating, and that is great. They are also adding a ton of newer music, or at the very least new to these particular game soundtracks music. From a wide variety of artists, including ones I've heard of, like Less Than Jake, Fiddlar, MXPX, Real Big Fish, Strung Out, Sublime, the Ataris, Zebrahead, all that fun stuff, and also some stuff that's more recent, like say Machine Gun Kelly and a bunch of other people that I don't really know on this list.
This is a long list. It's the list I'm looking at.
I don't know who the Viagra Boys are. I'm sure they're great.
37 new artists. Is that the same list you're looking at?
Yes, that's the one I'm looking
at. Are either of Abby or Alex the folks on your T-shirts in this game?
They are not, tragically.
Okay. Well,
unfortunately, one day.
Yeah, I don't. Oh boy. This is like
I feel like I know half of this list.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'd say I know about a third of the new artist list, and then I have my own Tony Hawk playlist on Spotify that has all the songs from those games on there, so I remember the old stuff.
Well, when they say new artists, it's not necessarily new music. It is just new
hottest new 2020 artist, Real Big Fish.
Yeah, Real Big Fish. I was going to say
new song from Sublime.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what I was looking at. Okay,
please, if it's new material from Sublime, it has to be designated Sublime with Rome. That is the difference. It's a very key difference.
This is a list. So have they said what gets split between
it's a log? Is what it is.
This is a big log. Does it get split between 1 and 2, or can you mix and match?
I think all the songs are just. They haven't said specifically, but I have to imagine that all the songs are available in both games.
I should go down this list and listen to a song from every one of these artists. I feel like this is a good place for me to start.
I mean, the legacy 1 and 2 songs you'll instantly remember.
No, the original stuff I can name. I know most of these. Some I don't, but most of these. The people that are new, I don't know who MXPX. I don't know who.
MXPX.
They've been around forever.
Yeah.
MXPX was a Christian punk band before they kind of got a little bit mainstream success. But they've been around forever. They were. I remember MXPX because MXPX signed to A&M Records right before we first got an offer from A&M Records back in like 96, 97. And our A&R guy was the guy who signed MXPX.
Nice.
They were a tooth and nail band.
They started out as Tooth and Nail band. They signed to A&M for a couple of albums, and then they might have gone back to Tooth and Nail after that. I'm not sure.
A lot of folks in the chat are making good points. I'm like, well, it's a good thing you can play this game. Because I know listen to all of this music over and over again. Who are the Ataris?
Another like pop punk band.
Like late 90s, early aughts punk band.
Okay, interesting. Well, that's fun news. That's
You're like, I see Atari. I know that.
That's a word I understand.
I was like, that's a video game thing. I should.
Like it's a cover of that Don Henley song, right?
I think yes, they did Boys of Summer.
Neat. So when is that stuff coming out?
September, I believe.
Oh, that's not far away at all.
4 weeks, yeah.
All right.
Weeks, yeah.
September 4th.
So now the question is, in the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remake, will they be able to license all the new artists and the old? I'm already thinking, I got to think 10 years down the line.
I think we should all stay silent on that.
I think we need to not address that until we actually make sure that this remake is good. Because the last couple of times they've tried to do Tony Hawk things, it has not gone great, and I'm really just crossing my fingers that they didn't fuck this one up. That's all I really want.
It's fair.
Alex, is there any other news, good or bad, or is that mostly it?
Not under my name.
Okay,
so I'm good.
All right, so
I know some good news.
Oh, Abby, what's the good news?
Another Animal Crossing update. The second summer one is coming out.
What do we get? What happens?
So I believe it comes out today as of recording this podcast, July 30th. So there is going to be like a summer festival every weekend in August, I think, where you can buy firecrackers and I think like fireworks, and I think you can like custom design them too, which is pretty cool. Also, big thing that I think a lot of people are excited for, which I think people kind of guessed was coming, was in the last game in New Leaf, Animal Crossing New Leaf for the 3DS, there was like a dream suite, which was like an area you would open up in your town. And then you would lay in bed, and this woman would let you go to sleep. And then basically you would just like visit somebody else's town without actually having to be there. So like now you have to like open up your gates and they have to come into your town, and like you are there with them and they could like affect your town. Whereas this is like, I'm going to make a town. I'm going to make it how I want. I'm going to like upload it to the cloud basically. And then I can like fuck with my town as much as I want to, but that version of it will still be there for people to come and visit. So it's just a way to visit people's towns.
Okay.
But people on the 3DS would do like really interesting things with it. They would have like themed towns and towns where you know, it would be like, oh my God, it's like a horror movie, or they would have like little backstories. And they were all very well done. And I think it's going to be a nice way to view people's towns without having to worry about the annoying shit of like
the gates.
Oh boy, here we go again. Like 20 minutes to get people in and out of here.
There's one piece of news I'm seeing people mention in the chat here that maybe does negate this a little bit, which is that apparently you need to use friend codes to get access to towns. It's not just like random towns that you can go to.
Is it friend codes? Because I know that you have like a specific town code for your dream
There's
town.
a dream
like you go to
code.
bed, and there's a dream code, but I don't think that's like you have to be friends with them. So I think it's like, hey, my dream code's online. You can do it.
Okay.
I think maybe on the last one, I could be wrong. I thought maybe you could do like a random one. I could be totally misremembering that though. But that was, I think, the same system as before, where like you would have a code. So it would often be a thing on Reddit where someone would be like, check out this crazy town. And then like you would have a code for it and you would go check it out.
I would really love it if you could just get any random town. Like I understand
maybe have that.
That is not the Nintendo way, but I would really just love to randomly access any town that happens to be floating around in the dream cloud.
Yeah,
Yes,
like some kind of
too.
opt-in, or if you don't have parental controls on or something like that, be able to see everything. I assume you have to have an online subscription to do any of that stuff, right? You have to.
Oh,
right?
I think so. Presumably. One exciting thing about the new update is before you would have to like go into a new town. It was like a building you had to go into. But now you can just go into any bed in your house and go and like dream, which is interesting. Although I would actually like to be able to I want more buildings to like put in my town. I would love to like fill out the space more. Like I wish Reds was a building or a tent even, like anything. Not a boat that comes once every month. You know what I mean? Anyway.
So, Abby, you might want to try what my girlfriend has been trying. Sam has been going to random people's towns through Reddit, I assume, or one of the various places where people, Animal Crossing people congregate. And apparently people are just straight up like selling bulk paintings, like in exchange for like, Nook Miles tickets and all that other stuff. So like she went into someone's town last night and got like 8 fucking paintings that we didn't have all in one transaction. Cool. So like there's a black market for the black market.
Oh,
it's
man.
Wild. It's the super dark web.
Send me info for this. I want send me the info after this because I would like to know. I haven't really played Animal Crossing in like a week because it's like I still haven't gotten that fucking fossil, and every fucking day I would go in and give all my 4 fossils, and I don't want to cheat, but I'm like, maybe I'll fucking cheat. I think it's bugged. How have I not gotten this one fucking stupid little wing?
Didn't you say there was like a fossil buried that you can't get to or something? Like there was one.
I got it. I fucking changed my terrain so I can get to that one fossil just in case.
And it wasn't it.
No, I know.
You're gonna find out someday it's like under your house or something that you built your house on top of the one fossil.
Anyway, I'm very seriously considering time traveling. I feel like I've kind of capped out sort of what I can do with the game anyway. So like, why not? At this point, I have never finished a museum, and from the looks of it, it doesn't seem like I will, considering how long it fucking takes to get art. So
somehow I am still playing this game like almost every day.
Oh wow!
I mean, that's good. I was for a long time. It's also easy to check back in. It's like such a like kind of impact game in a nice way. Yeah,
it's a half-hour check-in. I'm like, cool, I'm good. I've done my errands. Time to go.
Anyway, another big thing with this update that I don't know the full details on. I don't want to like misrepresent it. I just saw that it was a thing, but it looks like you might be able to put your town in like a cloud backup save. So before Animal Crossing, I think was a thing you could not back up in any way, and I think you will be able to now, which is very exciting for people, obviously.
So does that mean I can back up my town and then basically wipe out the town, start over as a mayor, and then if my son or daughter ever want to play this game again, download the town? Nintendo, just let me become the mayor. Let me be the representative. Just let me switch. Why won't it's called a switch? Just let me switch.
Just log in as your son.
But why?
Yeah,
just
do that.
But for why?
But for why? Just let me change it. Let me change it once every 2 months. You get to change it. Let me change it. I think it's time for Animal Crossing to have its own murder mystery. Look,
I would love that.
The representative has disappeared from this town. No, I'm saying disappear. They're having a dream. Okay. Yeah. They're off with Red.
I mean,
going
that's kind of what happens. Like with my character right now, is I come back to town and everyone was like, "What happened? You were gone. No one was there to dig up all the fossils."
What does happen?
Weeds everywhere.
Like when you're logged out, what does happen? Are you just like off the island? You're like frozen, or your door's locked?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Your soul leaves your body. You were just staring at the water forever. All right. Jeff Bacalar, what do you got? What's this thing you put in here?
I got some stuff.
Okay.
I actually do have some stuff. During the pre-show, I was reading around and I heard that People Can Fly have a new unannounced quote unquote AAA game coming to
how many A's?
Next gen consoles. That would be Thrice.
Oh.
Not too many details, but apparently it's coming from their New York studio.
I thought, did they not announce a new game in the last year and a half or so? This is a new thing?
I'm reading from
I just
the
seen this now.
Eurogamer story.
Yeah.
I think we all agree we trust them as a source, and it says there is a new unannounced in development AAA project.
Okay, sorry. I think Outriders is a thing that was announced that's supposed to be coming out in 2020. That's the announced thing.
Year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. And obviously they also did the Bulletstorm, which is on everything you can possibly want it to be on. I'm keeping my eye on something like that. There's also a few more teases about the next season in Call of Duty that I find more interesting than others, just because this seems to tease that there will be I don't want to say substantial changes, but I guess more changes than we saw in 4. You guys remember all the bunker junk? There's like a lot of bunker stuff happening, and it like felt more or less that it was kind of just like this ad in the game for the next Call of Duty.
I do not, but
that was sort of the takeaway from me. I know, like, you know, you basically found these key cards that opened up certain bunkers in the map. And
I do remember you talking about it.
You looted a bunch of good shit, and then there was like a conversation you could overhear, and it sort of alluded to the next game. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe something more substantial came out of that, but I didn't really hear much beyond that. The thing that Season 5 and specifically the Call of Duty Twitter account is teasing, seems like something's going on with that big ass stadium. The big ass stadium in the middle of the map. You guys,
is that the one you do in the multiplayer co-op one? That's the big ass stadium. Do you know what I'm talking about? You never played the multiplayer co-op, did you?
I'm not sure.
The Spec Opsy thing. Okay.
Yeah, like with the wave battles.
Yeah. You kind of always
stuff like that. I don't know. There could be a stadium level map of that, but I haven't.
Okay.
I don't know if this is the map within, you know, the war zone. This is the stadium within the war zone map.
Okay, I'm not sure. I know.
They might be opening it up.
Oh, they can go inside.
Maybe go inside.
That's where the T-Rex is.
That's where they keep all the dinosaurs that they reanimated. That's where the angle shift is going to happen. So yeah, I'm stoked about that. I still play that game way more than I ever thought I would. It is, look, it's crazy. It's about to be August 1st. There's hockey on in the middle of summer. There is Warzone is still being played. And I'm excited. I've been playing a lot of Plunder. Have you guys heard of the mode Plunder?
No.
Say it again.
Jeff?
Plunder.
Okay.
Are you doing is this that song that you're trying to?
Yeah.
We're gonna get a copyright strike for this.
Yeah, definitely, because it's pitch perfect. Watch out.
I hope Schweppes doesn't mind that we're using official music.
All right. Yes, tell me about Plunder. Yeah, go for it.
There you go. So you know what? I was kind of lukewarm on this mode, and I had gotten real sick of straight up Warzone battle royale kind of stuff. I'm just don't like it as much as I used to, and that's fine. You know, you bounce off of things. Friends and I started playing Plunder, and we just really took to it real quick. And you know, it's basically the same Warzone map, but the object is to collect $1 million as fast as you can. And there's respawns.
Oh yeah, I did that.
And there's interesting little strategy situations that pop up that I myself don't claim to understand any real idea of how one devises strategy around this sort of game. It seems it's just over my head right now. The two guys in my group that play so much, they've sort of figured it out, and when I jump in with them, I like to play it and sort of like ride their coattails. But
yeah,
I'm kind of digging it. I don't know if so. You basically collect money, then you have to like deposit it.
You extract it. You like tie it to the helicopter, right? And it kind of gets
tied to a balloon, or a helicopter. And you basically get to a point where one team collects $1 million and then it enters overtime where any of the other teams that are close to $1 million can kind of like sneak in and steal the win. It's just different. I think when it comes down to it, when it boils down to it, I enjoy it because there's respawning and you can come back. And, I think that whole loop of like going through the gulag and the regular battle royale was just wearing a little thin on me. And not that I don't enjoy the loop. I just, I don't know, for whatever reason, I was kind of burnt out on it. But this has injected a little bit of life into that game for me again. But, I'm still all about the multiplayer. But now that this new stadium stuff could be happening in the regular stuff, look, I mean, I've been eating what they've been cooking for almost, almost a full year now. So I'm excited to see what happens. But yeah,
anything
Battle
else?
Pass 2, of course. And
Battle Passes. Gotta get those.
There is something else.
What else?
I think this story will appeal and interest everyone. So Fox Sports.
Oh, I know what this is.
Fox Sports. And again, just a little bit of context here. Fox Sports has a long lineage of like maybe injecting FX and shit into sports that maybe it just didn't need to.
Are you speaking ill of their football playing robot that shows up on my TV every Sunday morning?
Wait,
talking about the robot that just sort of raises up from the end zone like a crazy sleeping Pacific Rim Jaeger and just like
I'm speaking of Cletus. The robot, the football playing robot, everyone's favorite mascot for Fox Sports Television.
Did they do the lightning puck?
The glow puck.
Yeah, the glow puck. Okay,
from the 90s. That was just
I remember that.
A crime. It was just a hockey crime.
Hey, you see the puck? You can see the puck behind the net now. That's
sure. No, that was it worked real well.
Okay.
I mean, I was like 9 when that came out, and I just remember looking at my dad and being like, "Fuck is this?
Yeah.
Fuck is this, Dad?" So. They are adding to certain games.
Certain games, like real games.
Certain baseball games. They're adding in a virtual crowd.
Okay, is there other places doing that too?
Well, you don't mean you don't mean just audio. You mean people in the stands.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second because I think that's truly fascinating. But they are basically like cut and pasting that generic ass 4 animation crowd that's in every baseball game, skinning them up and doing what they do to make them wear like the home team garb and whatnot.
And to be clear, this is different than the like putting cardboard cutouts in the stands and like the other things that other leagues have talked about doing. This is literally they are taking the fucking crowd from SmackDown versus Raw 2013 and imposing them into the background of every shot. Like there is someone going, eh.
Yeah, I want to see how the foul balls work.
They need to take the what was the best one was the Forza audience. Remember the like it was just all
the cardboard cutout people. Yes,
like their arms folded and just kind of like bored. Take those.
Wait, so y'all think that cardboard cutouts are better than the digital ones?
I don't know what better is. I just know that this is a much more expensive solution than perhaps just making cardboard cutouts. Yeah.
Is it more expensive? I don't know. I guess probably.
People are paying for the cardboard cutouts apparently too. Like
they're paying like you get your own
themselves on there, or like their pets.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah,
are they just wearing like sponsored shirts and stuff like that? Like just getting out
Schweppes has a big
cutout. That's right. It's just a Schweppes can undercover with sunglasses and a hat, just like opening up its shirt.
Score in the baseball game.
Just opening up its shirt, kind of pointing to its Schweppes logo.
So, we are all living through a very bizarre period of time. I know that's the understatement of the goddamn century.
Yeah.
But Okay. I'm like, why not? Sure. It'll get me to fucking at least look at a GIF of it or something. I don't know.
Are they adding crowd noise?
So here's the thing. They are at, okay. I've been watching. So like I said, hockey is back. They're starting their,
their
augmented Stanley Cup playoffs this weekend. And I did watch a couple of the exhibition kind of warm-up games this week. And as someone who watches a great deal of hockey, I noticed that there is some sort of white noise / maybe let's just call it like arena tone that they are pumping in, and they are mixing very well that I can't, like, it kind of feels like someone is monitoring it in a way that when there's like a close play in front of the net, you almost, and I can't tell if it's psychosomatic, but you almost hear like the oohs and ahs of a play in the crease. I don't know if I'm going crazy.
So there was I heard on NPR there was a story. I don't know if it was from BBC or what. I think it might have been on the BBC about a story about a person who is doing that work. They have licensed crowd noises from EA and stuff because they have all the stems for all that stuff, all the plays marked and libraries, and it's somebody's job to kind of anticipate a little bit or to kind of hit the reaction noise at the right time. For I want to say there were certain leagues were doing it for football or soccer.
So someone in chat just told me there is someone controlling fake audio for the NHL, and I buy that. I kind of wish like maybe there is a story that I just haven't seen, but I want to read about that. I want to see like who's doing that. Maybe I have to do this.
I want pure silence.
So I had thought about that too, because the cool thing in hockey is that there's so much talking on the ice that I would almost want to hear everything. And I kind of feel like that's because even if you sit close enough at a hockey game, you can hear the players on the ice. But yeah, like for me, I just want to I want to see that. I want to hear that.
Yeah, like I that has already borne some fruit, like in the MLB stuff. Like you are definitely hearing a lot of players cussing at each other on the field when they don't have the fake crowd noise. Like it was definitely one I saw a clip going around. Someone saying, "Get on the fucking mound," which the announcer was immediately like, "Oh well, folks, yeah, see here we have mics on this thing," and
which is echoing through an empty stadium, just like super loud.
I'm almost positive I saw something that said like all live sports in 2020 are on like a 10-second delay. Just because stuff like that.
So there's two things here. One, I agree with the sentiment that a completely like crowdless, noiseless sports game, doesn't matter if it's baseball, hockey, basketball, whatever, is uncanny in a way that is disconcerting to watch. I totally get that. This is also an insane problem to have because we're already talking about an insane solution to a problem, which is to say trying to do sports when we still have not got a pandemic under control to begin with is just inherently insane. And the fact that we are throwing this much technology at the weird sound of sports as opposed to trying to keep the players like paid and not necessarily having to risk their fucking lives to play a goddamn Marlins game is bizarre. But it's all bizarre. Everything is bizarre right now. Everything is fucking insane. So I don't even know how to react to stuff like this because the whole thing feels like it just should not be to begin with.
I'm a little shocked that we haven't had piped in noise during regular season. I would have thought that they would have juiced the crowd up.
It could be a thing. I mean, obviously you don't have to address that when like people are in the audience. Right? Now I feel like obviously you got to say something because clearly there's no one there. I don't know. The baseball noise is not as authentic. I feel like again, I don't watch.
I've only seen a clip of one game that had the noise, and it did feel off. It didn't sound quite right.
It just seems a little weird. It just seems like it almost just seems like you're wearing like noise canceling headphones and you're hearing like the outer audio around that, if that makes any sense. But I was super impressed with the job with the mix they did in that hockey game. So I want to find out more about that. It's pretty cool.
Weird period of time.
And they're playing like they're doing the music, they're doing like the chants, the announcements. I don't know if they're doing the chants because they're only playing in 2 bubble cities, so it's
does the virtual audience do the wave?
Yes, in baseball they do the wave. I'm not fucking around. That's what they do. Yeah.
I was fucking around.
Yep. Again, expect anything.
You got to write
It's
this
already
article.
programmed in.
Yeah, maybe I'll put together a video next week or something. I'll try and talk to someone.
Like at what point are we like when they've realized that this is not working and they have to cancel more MLB games and stuff like that? Is it just they're just going to hand PS4 controllers to every player and just be like, all right, you got to learn how to play this MLB, play MLB the Show, and
joke, but yes.
And it's the skill level is going to be like, well, it's the real players controlling their player. So if they're good. You know,
they were streaming. I forget who was doing it. They were streaming hockey players playing NHL a couple months ago.
Did like for a gag or like as like whoever wins this goes to the Stanley Cup?
No, not like for actual NHL stats.
Mm-hmm.
You monster. But,
it's gonna be baseball players in like separate rooms, and a pitcher's gonna throw a ball like at a pitching park, and they're gonna measure the velocity, and then they're gonna have a batter with like a t-ball stand hit a ball there to measure that, and then like throw something randomly at another player with a glove, like the amount of hoops I feel like they're trying to jump through, and I understand it's a lot of money at stake here for the stakeholders in this, but you're absolutely right. Like the amount of hoops that they're trying to get through to make this work seems a little ridiculous when I have a survey on my desk that I have to fill out tomorrow whether my kid goes back to school or not. Like it is like one of those things.
Yeah, and on top of that, let's be clear, the people who stand to lose the most out of this money-wise are the ones that are also the least at risk for what will actually happen to the players on the field. It's the owners. Like, it's the people that run the league. Like, they are the ones that can sit in a box somewhere and not have to be out there and potentially contract a potentially fatal fucking disease just so that baseball can keep happening, And it's like, in the end, yes, obviously there are players that want to do this, that believe in continuing to play the game and what have you, sometimes for financial reasons, sometimes just because they want to be out there playing. But like the reality is this is happening because owners have decided that the loss of money is ultimately unacceptable to them.
I mean, it does seem some sports are definitely doing it better than other sports, but yeah.
I mean, baseball is doing it the worst as far as I can tell.
They don't see it was wild. I do not follow baseball that closely, but I never had ever thought in a million years that their plan was just we're just gonna do it. We're just gonna play baseball. I just assumed they were doing a bubble thing.
But also, oddly enough, baseball being the one sport in the U.S. where you're probably the most distanced by virtue of the whole. Like the catcher and the batter are probably the people who are, and just listen.
But you're in that dugout. You're in that dugout full of dudes.
Right, but like. Do you have to be I don't know.
Probably yes.
Right. I don't know. Listen. What do I know about that stuff? Nothing. All I know is that it doesn't seem to be working out the way that they keep intending. All right.
I mean, yeah.
What yeah, go sit in the stands are full. Go sit next to a virtual wave goer in the stands.
Go sit next to the Schweppes can.
Backlar, anything else?
That's all I got.
All right. We're going to take another quick break here. We'll be back. Short one. We'll be back in just a moment with some emails. What time is it? Oh, yeah. Look at that. We'll be back quickly here with some emails. Stay tuned. All right, we are back, and now it is time for the emails. If you have an email, you can send them in to beastcast@giantbomb.com. That is beastcast@giantbomb.com. Abby Russell, you've gone through the emails, picked out the emails for today's show.
Correct.
What do we got?
Okay, Vinny.
Yeah.
I think you will have some opinions on this one from Evan, so why don't you take it away, please?
Sure. What do you guys do all day?
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, Evans. If you're eating Pop-Tarts, do you eat the two in the wrapper or take one and leave the other back in the box? I'll go with my original one. You eat both Pop-Tarts. Wait, why'd you even open the package if you don't need to eat both of them? Just go breathe air. Yeah. If you're not that hungry, just go, I don't know, look at food then. Man, eat both Pop-Tarts.
But Pop-Tarts can be so dry. I feel like eating two is like...
Oh, I don't think the dryness is the issue here.
I think the bigger... here's my question, Evan, from Connecticut. Do you toast them Or do you just eat them out of the?
Way.
You just eat them.
Well, they're supposed to be toasted.
I have maybe toasted like one Pop-Tart ever in my life. You don't fucking toast a Pop-Tart. You just eat it.
I'll eat it either way.
Dry.
I don't care. If it's a cold day and I want a warm Pop-Tart, I'll eat a warm Pop-Tart. If it's a hot day and I just want a regular not toasted thing, I will just eat it. It doesn't matter. Pop-Tart's still a Pop-Tart whether it's hot or not.
Pop-Tarts. I haven't had a Pop-Tart in, I'd say, years, up until maybe the beginning of this year when I actually bought one out of the vending machine where we used to work.
Yeah.
And
that was my lunch for a long time. That's still
the
my
vending machine is just like rotten and gross now.
It's probably all.
It's probably empty. I hope it's empty.
Foliage, the way I understand.
It's just Last of Us in there.
The way I understand.
It's like a coin in like the thing for somebody to pick up.
Elia smashed the glass on it and gotten 25% health back from eating certs.
Right, and there's just for like whatever reason a half-used roll of duct tape in the middle of that. So I ate both of them, and I'll tell you what, guys, did not feel well after I did that. Not like sick to my stomach, but just felt
just like your body was really dry on the inside.
Okay, if that's the angle you really want to pursue, we can do that. But for me, it's just like, this is just like candy. I mean, what are we doing?
It is definitely a confection. Pop-Tart.
Do they still make the ones without the frosting?
What is that?
Ew.
Why would that? What is that?
Ew.
I don't want that.
My favorite
Jeff,
part.
How dare you?
Listen to me.
This is a family podcast.
My favorite part of the Pop-Tart growing up as a kid, and I was a huge, I guess the maple sugar one.
Oh yeah, those are good.
That's too much for me. Yeah, but I know
those are good.
Yeah.
Oh, I like those. I don't like
the
the
s'mores ones. Oh, the s'mores ones.
Texture of those.
And the chocolate ones.
Peeling
Gross.
off the cake only border of it. I love doing that.
Parts.
Yeah, but I for whatever reason, like the icing to me was always just like, oh, this is really a lot. Like, what are we doing? But I just like the cakey part the best. Yeah, that's what I said.
Those are the parts you had to like stomach through to get to the good wet part in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the thing is, you got to understand, I really like eating garbage. I love it. I adore it. I want to do it any chance I get. And boy, Pop-Tarts, the garbage per square inch, ratio there is just. Mwah.
And you get two of them.
Trash.
Pop-Tarts is the only on the outside. There are many more on the inside. The only food that has given me an outside physical scar on my body.
Wait,
because
what?
of the hotness?
Yeah, I don't know if you can actually see it on my arm here. I'll try and get it on the camera. It's never going to focus, but I have a
It's
scar
a very bright,
on my wrist over here from when I was burnt by a Pop-Tart as a child.
I ate them cold.
It came out of the toaster hot, and they're like a little too short for a toaster. Like you got to reach in there a little bit to get them. And it came out of the toaster too hot, and it flicked it up in the air, and it landed hot sugar side down on the inside of my wrist, and literally melted the skin on my wrist where I have a scar today.
Jesus.
Okay, but here's the thing, Vinny. You would still ate that Pop-Tart, right?
Oh, yeah, I ate it while I was screaming.
Right,
So who won that battle?
The hostess or whoever makes Pop-Tarts clearly won that battle.
Yeah, right.
Should have followed suit.
Well, speaking of winnable battles,
yes.
Shall we move on to this question from Bobby B? Jeff,
Sure.
do you want to read it?
Bobby B, I love it. How do you feel? Well, I just want. Do you think he's saying use like how do you feel?
How do
Thank you all.
No? Okay. How do you feel about the video game trope of intentionally unwinnable fights? Like a fight where the enemy is so strong and you're too weak that they take no damage, or a fight where regardless of how you're doing, when a cutscene kicks in, your player character is suddenly on the losing end. Playing Ghost of Tsushima, which does this exact thing right at the beginning there, reminds me of how tired I've grown of games using this trope to establish their villain as a real threat. It's like the game telling you, oh no, watch out for this guy. He's better at the game than you, but don't worry, you'll get there, wink.
Bad news. This email was also sent to the Bombcast, so we're legally not allowed to answer.
Why wouldn't you say this before?
Well, now
I didn't know. Just saw it in chat. Everyone said it was on the Bombcast. So you will never know how I feel about this.
Bobby B from Jersey definitely wrote use, by the way. That's definitely
okay. What is use?
correct.
You keep saying it as though I know what you're talking about.
Use guys, like use out there.
Oh, I'm slightly. I'm gonna say I'm slightly offended that there would be not an audience that wants to hear our opinion on this because
we're gonna do it.
Yeah, that Bobby B maybe wants to know what the right answer on this would be, so he sent it to us as well.
Well, as far as I know, we have all the exact same opinions as everyone on the Bombcast.
That's right. That's
Notoriously.
right. That's right. Bobby B. My answer is I do not like it if you're winning a fight and then suddenly you're losing a fight because of the cutscene. That is my answer.
No, and I think to jump on that, I hate it. Big pet peeve of mine is when a cool boss comes into play and then you defeat it within a cutscene. Like, no, I want to defeat it with my own hands when I'm touching the controller and feeling like I'm doing shit.
You want to swing
like,
that
I want to
blade.
hit the button. I don't want it to be a thing that like the cutscene does the work. No way. No.
Okay.
I liked it the first time I came into contact with it, but I agree with Bobby B. I'm just I'm over it.
I don't like it.
I only like the ones where you actually can win the fight. It's just obscenely hard and almost no one will ever do it.
Wasn't like the new Devil May Cry, right?
Yeah, that last Devil May Cry game, like that first one at the beginning, apparently you can actually just beat the game there. It's just that almost no one ever will.
That's funny.
That, my opinion being said, Bobby B from Jersey, I do enjoy when they put the last boss in front of you when you don't have any powers or health or whatever, and they let you try and fight that boss in a way that you can't win, and then they put that same boss in front of you at the end of the game after you've powered up and you're all ready to go. But I do not like when they then take that boss and give it a second form later on, or change the stats on it to be like, well, you level up 2, you found the grappling hook 2 boss monster, whatever. You didn't get all the feathers. All right,
you got your answer, Bobby, but you're banned from the site now.
Sorry, Bobby. Sorry, Bobby Bobby Bonilla, no longer allowed to email in the podcast. All right, Abby, what's next?
Okay, Alex, will you read this one from Andrea, please?
Sure thing. Andrea says, hello. First time, long time. There are references to the band.
Oh, not
Pup.
this one again. I'm just kidding.
There are references to the band Pup in the new Paper Mario game. There are references to comedy podcasts and games like The Last of Us 2 and Mortal Kombat 11. Last of Us 2, the funniest game. One of my tiny joys at my graphic design job is sometimes inserting extremely niche references to things I like in harmless ways that no one but me would recognize. Is this something you've ever done at a job? Do you have a favorite subtle deep cut reference from outside the sphere of games that somehow made its way into a game?
Well, I mean, I think for the second part of this question, I mean, I don't know if people noticed how much I love drinking Schweppes on our streams and content.
Oh, Jesus.
I will say that for my job here, maybe half the decks I write for any given video are a reference to some other weird thing that I don't expect anyone to get.
I hate it. I think it's my real answer. I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like it when it's in my content. I think it takes me out of it. I think it cheapens it. And I think usually there'd probably be a better line that wasn't trying to be like a wink and nod to a thing they like, except for all those times they reference the delicious crispy bubbles of Schweppes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
all right, well, there goes my career. Guess I should just quit now.
I think it depends how subtle or how obvious, right? Like,
yeah, I think that's fair.
Like if there's first of all, as long as it's not a deeply offensive thing tucked into a background of a game that you thought you were getting away with. Let's put that aside, because unfortunately that's happened. So let's put that aside and say this is a fun reference that is, I think it's fun when something like that, I'm always a little tickled when something about Giant Bomb pops up in some other form of media, not necessarily video games, but like in a cartoon or something like that. And I think that's always a little fun. So yeah, I think it depends how subtle, how on the nose. Like if it's a character that is a main character you're talking to is trying to reference somebody's favorite band, I think that's maybe a little too on the nose. But if there's like a background poster for something that you wouldn't necessarily notice unless you knew that thing, I think that can be fun. I think it depends on the how over the hitting you over the head with it goes to make the point of like, see, wink, wink, I'm saying the thing. So.
I think that's very fair. I think you raise a lot of good points, Vinny. And
thank you very much.
I think you moved my answer to be less extreme.
Yeah, I had to bubble it up in like I wanted to carbonate the discussion. I wanted to really, I can't think of a good way to describe this. Really wanted to.
Sounds real Schweppy.
I really wanted to Schwepp that up a bit. What's next, Abby?
Okay. Let's read this one from Mac, please.
Yeah.
Vinny.
Okay, thanks.
Do it again, Vinny.
Max says, lots of games feature cooking meals as a way to boost your stats or replenish your health. If you could have any video game character cook for you, who would it be? What meal would you have them prepare for you? Thanks, Mac. Okay, can I answer this quickly? I think I have the answer right out of the gate here. It is the cat chef from Monster Hunter. I want that meal. I want whatever that cat chef is cooking up. Do it. I want the whole song and dance. I want all the cats to do it. And I want, I have literally, I think I took a photo of this. This is a true story, and showed my wife that meal and was like, I want this for my birthday. This is the present I want. Can you try and make this meal? Oh, it looks so delicious. That is so good. That's my answer.
Okay,
Wow.
that's a good one, and one I would certainly pick for myself. Just in the interest of having a different answer, any given ramen chef in any Yakuza game, I am totally happy to have them cook for me. Whatever they want to make me, I'm in. I'll try your ramen, please. I just want to hang out with Kiryu in your tiny little fucking food stall and eat your ramen. That's all I want.
I think for me, what I would want is, you know how some games, I feel like I remember it specifically in like a lot of like the Mario games, it's like Mario Party type stuff, where they are on like a world that looks like a giant cake. You know what I mean? It's just like big food.
Man, you want
they're like little and running around, like doing like a Mario Party board game on it. I want that. I want like a Willy Wonka world where I can just like eat the food that's big.
Yes, let's
Totally.
do that. I don't really have a game that I'm like super hungry for. It's not a thing I notice. I don't know, or at least I'm not having trouble remembering. So
what if you can go into your basement with a sledgehammer, just pick any spot, break the wall, and there's a fully cooked turkey just waiting, piping fully cooked turkey just waiting
like
for
a
you
wall
there.
turkey?
Yeah, or like
What if it was like a wall Pop-Tart?
What if you can walk down
Wall
that
tart.
suburbs, just kick over a trash can, and a juicy hamburger just falls out of the trash can?
Just like freshly plated.
Freshly plated, and when you eat it, you actually feel really good. That might, I want the Final Fight chef to come through my town at night and stock all the garbage. Would you eat it? Would you eat it? A wrapped hamburger that you kicked the trash can and it fell out.
It's such a stupid question because it's just like, okay, so you're saying someone just put like a freshly wrapped Wendy's burger under a garbage can, and you're just like, all right, well, that's there. And
No, it's in the garbage can.
This reminds me of, do you guys remember when there was like that news story where someone in Queens found like a bag of like hot-ish In-N-Out burger? It was like a bag of wrapped In-N-Out burger found in Queens. And people were like, how the fuck did this get into Queens? It's a West Coast thing. And they like tracked
is
down the
actually a
girl who
good
dropped
question.
it.
That is right.
It was fascinating. It was like basically this girl, she was like over there and she like flew home, and like on the way home, she like dropped it.
Oh, that's what they want you to believe. What really, there was like a weird, almost slightly bigger human-sized depression missing from a building as well, where the time sphere came in and out, and you couldn't take the Wendy's home with, or the In-N-Out burger home with you. Yeah, left it from a plane. Yeah, still hot. Yeah,
exactly.
whatever. No, Bacalar, nothing.
Nothing doing it for me.
A bug snack. You want the chef from Bug Snacks?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Although I kind of feel bad about eating stuff in that game, but all right.
Crab apple. Abby, what's next?
That was the last one.
Okay. No corrections. We made it. Look at this. Right on time. Thank you. Are you okay?
Maybe.
Sorry, okay.
Right?
Did you get something in your eye?
It'll be fine.
Okay. Abby's
Walk it
winking.
off,
Wink
walk it
if you
off.
need help. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. We will be back next week. Thank you very much, Alex Navarro. Thank you very much. I'm going to start playing the music here.
Good idea.
Yeah, that's I'll run this down. Thank you, Abby Russell.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, Jeff Bacalar. Jeff, next pinball stream is not on the books yet.
No, we'll do it a week from Sunday.
Can you pipe in? Can you put a fake crowd behind you in like your living room for the pinball stream?
Yeah, I'll talk to the producer, but I'm sure we could arrange that.
Yeah.
Can we also do a 10-second delay and beep out all your swears?
Oh no, that would take the fun out of it.
I don't swear on that. That's a family show. Come on.
If you want to go check out, we had Deep Rock Galactic from earlier this week. We've got Grounded, which we played. There's both an unfinished and then a very special version where I have all 4 of us up and the Sea of Thieves placard I made. You can also watch the Sea of Thieves we played. Abby, I'm sorry you weren't able to join for the back half of that.
I was excited for Sea of Thieves for like months.
Yes, we'll do another one where it's the 2 of us again, and then hopefully that 2-person boat was a lot of fun. Alex, you drumming this week? Or I see tonight?
I'll be playing tonight. I will be playing entirely random songs.
Oh, that's
hit the random song button.
Bye.
Bye. See you, everybody. Watch Alex drum. See ya. Bye, everyone.